Hello friends, Ben Lee here. I want to take this opportunity to share some reflections and some thoughts on what I see as the significance of what's occurring in Standing Rock at the moment. I look through my Facebook feed and I'm really blown away by the breadth and the diversity of people who have been incredibly inspired and called into action over the recent events, the protests against the proposed pipeline at Standing Rock, and seeing how obviously there's a lot of environmental issues to do with the protection of clean water, to do with the preservation of sustainable resources, and also to do with the recognition of Indigenous land rights and the Indigenous connection to the earth. But a lot of that occurs on the surface level of what is this narrative that's being played out. And I try to remember that every story occurs in two worlds, on two levels: the surface narrative and the symbolic meaning. And much like a dream, certain things may happen to us, certain events, we may have interactions with certain people. It's the symbolic part of the dream where our hidden yearnings and wishes and fears and hopes and dreams are, that really give the dream the emotional power that leaves us with the feeling that something significant is occurring. So we understand the surface story about the pipeline and the Native American tribes that are wanting to protect their sacred land. But what is happening symbolically? What's happening to us? What are we realizing? Why are we moved by this? Well, what I believe is that the true lesson symbolically we're learning is about the unexpected power of the defenders of the natural state. We all have a natural state within us. We all have an indigenous culture within us, the selves that we were born with, that we were children too. We were innocent. We were connected. We were open-hearted. And increasingly in this world, we're encouraged to disconnect, to merge into a mechanistic, technological way of thinking. We're really urged to disregard our own indigenous tendencies, our desire to be authentic, our desire to be connected to the earth, our desire to be connected to our hearts. And we're basically told to sweep all that under the rug, to bully it into submission. And I think we've come to believe that that's actually possible, that the indigenous power that is innate within us actually is no match for this mechanistic way of thinking, this mechanistic way of doing things that we are encouraged to foster in our society. But what do we have here? We have a narrative in which the indigenous forces in North Dakota are saying, no, no more. Enough is enough. We're not going to fight using violence, but we will not stand for this bulldozing of our agenda. We have our agenda too, and it's connected to the preservation of the natural state. What an incredible surprise for us. How humbling. In this moment, we have the opportunity. We have two roads we can go down. One of them is either just to say, well, let's force our agenda upon them once again, even if down the line we have to have this conversation again. Let's force this out of the way and let's continue with the way we're doing things. Or we have the opportunity to pause and reflect and rectify. Think about the ways that we've treated Indigenous cultures internally and externally. How are we with our own inner selves, with our own authentic yearnings, our own emotional lives, our inner lives, our dream lives? Are we connected to them, or are they just in the way of what we know we need to be doing? We have this opportunity here. It's a fork in the road. And on one hand, it's almost the convenient choice, is continue on with business as usual. But at the other moment, we're feeling called to admit we were wrong and step into a new type of relationship. And for me, this is where the exciting possibility really lies. So yes, of course, the story happening on the surface here is very important. It is very important to stand with Standing Rock. It's really important to do what we can to oppose this pipeline. But I think at a deeper level, we can also take this opportunity to step into, it's time to reprioritize our values with ourselves. It's time to no longer allow for pipelines to be constructed back and forth through our human hearts, through our human minds, that really are just advancing a system. They're not really advancing our connection or advancing the quality of our human experience. So I know which side I'm on. I'm ready to stop. And I'm ready to admit my own mistakes and start a conversation with myself, a conversation with my own authentic nature, with my natural state, and say, let's find new ways to do this that works for both of us. Sending you guys all love, all the best.